We're in Tomorrowland, home of Space Mountain, where we're testing the return of Single Rider. In Frontierland at the Golden Horseshoe, where they've got a new treat featuring my favorite cookie of all time. We're about to rope drop ToonTown at 9:30 at night. Here at Tomorrowland, Space Mountain is an attraction that has had an on and off relationship with Single Rider. They took it down about, I want to say like 6 months ago. Nobody really knew for sure why. There's rumors, there's suspicions, that they wanted to try to stimulate Genie Plus sales, that kind of thing. But they have reversed course. Single Rider is back at Space Mountain. Let's take a test. Just like before when they had Single Rider back in the day, you access the Single Rider queue through the exit, just to the left of the Star Trader, and make your way all the way through to the actual exit of the attraction. Past the ride photo station and make a left at the Single Rider queue and head down the ramp. And then you'll see another Single Rider sign pointing you to the right, and they put you right here. You're on the second floor still, but you're gonna mix right in at the ramps. And then you keep to the right. They only ever use the left side of this queue now. It used to be that they would separate the standby into two queues, but they are now using this right-hand queue for Single Rider. Oops, excuse me, fellas. And make a little U-turn here, and voila, Bob's your uncle. We're almost at the ride vehicle already. Slick as can be. I rode Space Mountain twice while filming this in the span of about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes all in. That includes ride time and all the waiting and the walking. Perhaps the easiest possible way to ride Space Mountain, and that is why the crowd has gone wild when they heard the news that Single Rider was back at Space Mountain, because that's traditionally one of the longest waits in the park. Always. It's always a solid 45 minutes or more. It's 45 right now, 55 when we got in the queue originally. And it can get up to 90 minutes, 2 hours, on a busy day. Single Rider is one of the best kept, well, it's not really a secret, but it's one of the best kept secrets at Disneyland, for the attractions that have it. Now, as we mentioned before, I'm not sure why they took it down to begin with and why they brought it back. I couldn't say which, but I feel like that there is some debate about how to execute Single Rider, because when they first brought it back, like less than a week ago, it's been here for about a week. When they first brought it back, they had a completely different system in place. Originally, when they opened up about a week ago, you went up the regular standby route. You went up the ramp and you acted as if you were going in standby. And then at the point where standby breaks off, where that queue breaks off, and the Lightning Lane guests make a left, so too would Single Rider. And then they would actually mix you at the top with the Lightning Lane guest. So if you're a Single Rider, you were gonna go with a Lightning Lane guest. They paired you up. They identified odd numbered groups of Lightning Lane guests. If there was a group of 3, for example, they would pair you like they do at the actual. Hey, how are you? What's that? Just did it. There's a guy testing Space Single Rider right now. He went up the other way. He's like, no, it's not that way anymore. So they mix you with odd groups now, but they did it way back at the top of the ramp before. I'm not sure why they chose to go that route. My guess is that they thought that there was some sort of efficiency there where they could set the groups up with more ease at that point. But I feel like that's a very awkward situation, to ask guests to stay with that party. Not like they're going to go anywhere, but I think it just feels awkward to me. The whatever efficiency they thought they had there, they have abandoned that, and they're back to something closer to the old way. This works terrifically. I'm not sure why they felt the need to update it, to be honest. It works terrifically. There is no issue at all. They just set they mix you in right at the ride vehicle, where they identify right at the ride vehicle where the odd number groups are. Bravo to Disney for bringing back Single Rider. As I mentioned, I'm not sure why they took it down to begin with. They reversed course. They have now given us back single rider. It works for everyone. Single rider works for everyone, not just the single rider, but also the rest of the park. That single rider is now not in the standby queue, occupying space there. That single rider is now in the single rider queue, and he's using a space that was not going to be used. Some folks feel like it's a cheat. Some people believe that groups shouldn't be going into single rider, but I promise you, no space is being occupied by a single rider guest that would have been occupied by a standby guest. They are using only empty space. So it works for groups. It works for if you're with a group of 3 or 4 and you guys don't mind getting split up, take the single rider, do it. I highly recommend it. We're in Frontierland, where I have booked a mobile order for a little bit of dinner, ostensibly for dinner, but really I'm here to try this new treat, this new strawberry sundae that's got an amazing little added feature on there, a little something special on top. It has been a minute since I've been at the Golden Horseshoe. I'm grateful for a reason to come into the Golden Horseshoe because it's a lovely setting. I just don't care for the food too much. And it's quite empty in here tonight. And we're talking about the strawberry sprinkles sundae. Strawberry ice cream, raspberry drizzle, rainbow sprinkles, and iced cookies. These cookies. These were my favorite when I was a kid. Well, they're still my favorite today, actually. I cannot resist a circus animal iced cookie. Now, the sundae itself, it's about what you'd expect, delicious strawberry ice cream. The strawberry drizzle, is that what that is? That's the drizzle there? Anyway, that's always perfection in my book. But I ordered this treat for the cookies, and there they are. All 2 of them. I might have just paid $8.50 for 2 iced circus animal cookies. It was all right. The cookies are great, and again, so is the ice cream, but it's not as though the 2 things come together, to form one amazing new experience. So it's just, it's a good sundae. But of course, I still loved it because I love ice cream, so what am I supposed to do? Not like it? I guess, but don't expect anything amazing. Next, we've got a new guided tour coming to the Disneyland Resort starting April 7th. Guests will be able to book the Disney 100th guided tour. The tour is described as allowing guests to experience the Disneyland Resort as a living story. And based on the locations that the tour takes you, my guess is that it could be a story about how the Disney company got its start in animation and perhaps how that fits now into the park. Guests will have an official Disneyland guide for about 2 hours, taking you through Buena Vista Street, the Animation Academy, Main Street Opera House, Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, and Sleeping Beauty Castle. You'll take part in a unique drawing experience at the Animation Academy that features special characters for the Disney 100th. You'll even get to speak with an animator while you're there, so it's kind of private. There will be a complimentary digital download of your snapshot in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle, a Disney 100 treat, reserved seating for the Magic Happens Parade, and a specially designed Disney 100 commemorative pin. The tour is $110 per guest. Obviously, this does not include admission, and you can book right now. You go to the website, do it the same way you would make a dining reservation. I'll try to put a link in the description to the actual page where you can make that reservation. And it looks like the calendar is pretty wide open right now. And with that, let's head over to the Hungry Bear. Speaking of treats, we mentioned in our last construction update, remind everybody that if you're looking for beignets, they're no longer at the Mint Julep Bar, obviously, that they can now be found at the Royal Street Veranda. Since then, we have learned that there's a second location right here at the Hungry Bear. You can get beignets now not in just one location, but 2, Royal Street Veranda and the Hungry Bear. And of course, they are both available on mobile order. That's really cool. Conspiracy theorists, check this one out. Hungry Bear is in Critter Country, not in New Orleans Square, yet they're selling beignets. They're not selling mint juleps yet, but they are selling beignets. Is this a precursor to converting Critter Country to New Orleans Square? I don't think it is, but I'm putting this out there to you conspiracy theorists out there. So they have canceled Pyro tonight. They're still doing the projections here. I'm at Small World, by the way. They have killed the Pyro tonight. I wonder if they're not doing Pyro, does that mean they'll open up ToonTown early? Yes and no. They did not let us in at 9:30, but they also didn't make us wait till 10. It is 9:45. They split the difference, about as long as the actual show. And of course, everybody goes to Runaway Railway. I'm really curious to see how long the wait is to rope drop Runaway after the fireworks. It's like Peter Pan, right? Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to come to ToonTown tonight, specifically Runaway Railway, is to report on the continued abuse of the show in this queue. More props have been, damaged, taken, knocked around. Not all of it intentionally, I'm sure, but it is still a thing. Meanwhile, one of the things I noticed at the concession stand is that it would be fun if they sold the actual, the concessions that were in there, and it turns out they do. We tried to get some last weekend when ToonTown first opened, but they were sold out. But you can buy power limes, and you can buy the lollipops, and you can even get some popcorn in that popcorn bucket, which we did. Everything appears to be in order. I know that I think it was WWE News Today reported that they had put up some signs to say that some things were out of order or that they were working on something. I saw one over there by the concession stand, which I'm not sure if that's what they were talking about. But there's, whatever the main points were where the hot, the mustard and the ketchup and all that stuff was. But everything looks to be in order there. So they're doing a fine job of keeping things up in spite of all the wear and tear that is quickly going through this queue. 15 minutes. Did you see the dapper dogs on the bicycle? I've never noticed that before.
Welcome aboard, folks! I must have hit that track switch! There they
And there you go. There's the Oh Boy Golly Pops. These are the chocolate coins. They're in a different container in the concession stand, but these are the same coins. But alas, still sold out of the Power Limes. We'll keep checking. I want one of those. I love Sours. I just absolutely adore Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. There is no single attraction in this park aside from, the train or the monorail or the Mark Twain that I can ride over and over again that I've ridden so many times. We're going on, I want to say 13 times now since it's open, which is just a heck of a lot for me for any attraction. I don't even ride the train that often. But I adore Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Let's take a quick look around ToonTown, see how this place looks at night. I'm really looking forward to seeing this because one of the things that I was hoping for are more lighting effects and more, ambiance type stuff. That's lovely. We've got some trees out here, which we didn't have before. These don't really play as well, or they didn't over the weekend because it was rainy and overcast. But the trees are delightful. And by the way, even better with the lights inside. And then you've got some ground effects down here, which make it look lovely. This is really neat. I like this much better, in my opinion, than a fountain. In fact, I've had a few arguments with friends who are talking about, how we lost two fountains. They subtracted two fountains and added one. The fountain that was right here before. I was not a fan of that fountain, so I don't miss it one bit. I would much rather just have this green space right here than a fountain. They don't have to make use of every single square foot of the park. Some of it should just be open and play. That was what we've been asking for, is, especially in a place like ToonTown, more room to play for the kids. Mickey's house is not open, but you can meet Mickey out in front of his door, and this meet and greet, he's wearing his new hip outfit, which they've done a pretty decent job of that. A little zip-up hoodie for Mickey, which looks good on him. They generally don't do hip very well, but they managed to pull this one off. When you meet him in his house, though, it's no lock that he's going to be wearing that. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure if he does at all. When we met Mickey on Sunday, he was in his sorcerer's outfit. He does wear multiple outfits. It depends on what he's shooting that day. So, but I don't know if there's an episode, a film, that Mickey appears in with that outfit. So he probably wouldn't wear that in the meet and greet inside the house because that's his studio. He's in between scenes. He's in between shooting whatever it is that he's shooting. Like so much at Disneyland, this place does look much more fun and vibrant at night. It really does. Haven't seen it in the full-blown daylight yet because, like I said, it's been cloudy and rainy. But they've got some lighting effects here on Donald's boat. And the scenes that they've got here in the boat are also considerably better here at night. You can see everything more clearly. They're lit. You can see the colors change because there are some color changes here. The lighting changes. But this is much more enjoyable, much more visible at night. Meanwhile, at the fountain that is here, what you're seeing now, let me see if I can adjust that a little bit. There we go. This is the new lighting package. This is a show package. The way that's lit now. There's supposed to be more to it, which is not fully happening at the moment, is done. I understand the lighting will be different. But I have to say, this fountain is magnificent, both during the day. I remember loving it very much when I saw this on Saturday and Sunday, but it looks even greater, even better at night. It's well lit, colorful. There's a lot of show happening here, so this is fantastic. The lanterns that are hanging there, the paper lanterns, are in fact lit. They look really neat. Let's get a closer look. Lovely, just lovely. How could they just did everything right so far. I'm just loving all of this. Not 100% show ready, but then things often aren't. You know, there are things that still aren't working right. They still, the water features on my Donald's boat still aren't working. We're gonna go back there in a minute, but I did want to add that. Confirmed, Mickey does wear that outfit only when he's meeting guests out in front of his house. He will not be wearing that outfit when he's meeting inside his house. Got that confirmation from a cast member. He did also say that if you're here at closing, when they close the land, Mickey does a little farewell, a little goodbye over at the fountain, kind of like how they do at the train station, you know, on Main Street at Town Square. The cast or the characters will meet up there on the steps. They do something similar to that. He'll be at the fountain. So if you're in the neighborhood in ToonTown around closing, go to the fountain. Were the hills always lit? They look. I'm gonna do this all the time now. The hills look more lit than they were before. I don't think they were lit at all, to be honest, but I'll have to go back and look at some old footage. The centerpiece of this whole new land, Runaway Railway. I love, I'm such a sucker for popcorn lights. It's my favorite light ever. This just looks great here as the centerpiece of the whole land. I am just delighted by how terrific ToonTown looks now. Absolutely love it at ToonTown. I cannot wait to come back again and again and again. Whew, this is so great. I'm so glad we did this tonight. I'm so glad I got to include this in our What's New at Disneyland, because ToonTown is new. And that is what's new at Disneyland this week, Fresh Baked. Single Rider is back at Space Mountain. Got a new treat with the Golden Horseshoe. The Disney 100th guided tour is coming soon, April 7th. And ToonTown at night is magnificent. So glad I got to show you guys all that tonight. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more from Fresh Baked. Follow us on Instagram at _Fresh Baked, on Twitter at Fresh Baked Disney, that's Fresh with no E, and on TikTok at Fresh Baked Disney. If you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbake. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe. Be kind. Fresh baked. And that is the sound of a horn. Hey, good evening, guys. Good night. That's a Main Street vehicle at 11 o'clock tonight, you guys. That's a whole car full of Fresh Baked fans and a driver. 11 o'clock at night, that thing is happening. That makes me happy. That makes me really, really happy. I've never in my life seen that. I've been coming to Disneyland for a lot. Fresh Baked.